is Radio Bath.
That was The Moment by Tame Impala, and I am really excited to bring Niklas Aarre into the studio. So, as I mentioned, on today's show we're going to be exploring the arts, but in a relaxed way. And Niklas has very kindly given up his time to come in and work on some Shakespeare today. So, Nick, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks, mate. Very well.
Thanks for letting me come and join you. It's already exciting.
Have you done radio before?
No.
No, I was new to it as well. So just for everyone listening at home, you know, as I mentioned, me and Nick actually trained together as actors, didn't we, at Bath University?
We did.
And you then went on and did the MA course there as well?
Yeah, I had a year out and pursued a little bit of acting, did a couple of films and some TV stuff, and then realised my love was actually back with directing and crafting work and creating work, and I wanted to pursue my kind of career as a theatre director. So yeah, I went back to Bath Spa and did the MA in directing, and kind of all my opportunities and things that have happened from there have all come from that MA, which was kind of, I hope, was a good move.
I think so.
Yeah.
So just so everyone can understand, because I think it's easy to understand what the role of an actor is, because they're the ones, they're a bit like the sports people, aren't they?
They're the people you see.
You see them on the stage, they're the ones, that you're clapping at the end. But, what really is the role of a director in a performance?
So the director very much comes up with the vision of what the show would be. So either a venue would contact and hire a director through, so the producer would do that, and they'd have a kind of a talk about what they want the show to become and how they want it to be, how they want it to come across, and what sort of audience it's going to be there for. And then through reading the script, if it's just a traditional script, the director kind of comes up with ideas about how they want it to be, how they want it to come across. And then from that point onwards, they speak to the designers, so a lighting designer, a set designer, costume designer, and really try and visualize and kind of bring that vision to fruition. And then from that, then you have a basis of a show, you get your actors involved, you cast them, and then relatively speaking, you have a 3 to 4 week process of rehearsals, where you kind of block the show and get it up to performance standard. And then, so they're the person that has the decisions and has the answers to all the designers and the cast. They're the person that kind of problem solvers, creative problem solvers. Is kind
problem
of
solver.
Yeah. So
I like that.
We've got an issue with something, and we'll kind of work out how can we solve that problem. It's kind of how I see it.
Okay, great. I mean, one of the interesting things you said there was that, and I don't think a lot of people probably realise this, but the rehearsal time for a show being 3 to 4 weeks is actually much shorter than I think a lot of people may think. When you're sitting in the theatre and you have, a number of performers on stage, set, design, music all going on, that's actually quite a short amount of time to put something on, particularly at something of length. If you're doing Shakespeare, for example, would you be working with longer rehearsal times, or is it roughly the same?
It depends the scale of the production and the budget that is with that production. So a company like the Royal Shakespeare Company, they have a lot longer rehearsal process. And they're able to, because their cast size is so much larger, it just takes more time to get through a 2.5 hour show, or even a 4 hour Hamlet. It's going to take a while to get through. But typically, if you're looking at a standard show, say a cast of 6, and it's an hour and a half to 2 hours in length, about a 3 to 4 week rehearsal, and it's quite intense. So hopefully within the first couple of weeks, you'll have the whole show pretty much how it's going to be on stage, and then you've got a refining process for the last couple of weeks where you're going more into the detail, working on performance, asking more character questions and trying to develop that world. And then it's quite, what a lot of people wouldn't understand is actually you have your first couple of opening nights, which are just for trial audiences and to kind of get feedback and to see where things work and don't work. And it's only kind of by the middle of the run that you'll have a show that is the show as it is.
So it's not like when you launch the show, first night, it's not like the product's already there. Really, everyone is still finding and bedding into what they're doing, I suppose.
Yeah, and not just the performers, it's the people queuing the show who are doing the for the lighting calls and the sound calls and all of that stuff. They're learning the show still. So by the end of the run, that's when the show is the show. And even then, we're trained as actors and as creatives to try something new and to adapt it and to make it fresh, because yes, you've done it 40 times, but that audience is seeing it for the first time. So you've got to make it. You do something new to make it seem live and something fresh and new.
It's interesting that you mentioned that you've got to try and keep it live every single time. Have you ever experienced moments where actors may, in an attempt to keep their performance fresh, they start kind of deviating away from, what you've been discussing, or and what's your take on that? Because if that is authentic and natural and in the moment, as long as it's not, coming from a place of, trying to steal the show or something like that, they're just trying something new. Is that something that you commonly encounter in performance?
I wouldn't say so. The role definitely of a director is to make sure you've got those foundations in place and those questions answered and that world created where they can make those informed decisions to change of performance. I wouldn't want a performer to suddenly go, I'm going to enter from this side of the stage rather than this side of the stage, because it's just, that is going to be breaking the world that you've created. But if it's an informed decision from what you've established in those rehearsal rooms, then majority of the time it will work, and there's trust within the actors. And if you throw them off, it's going to throw your performance off as well in turn, like in kind of in consequence to that initial thing. So, there's a lot of trust between the actors as well. And
it's quite interesting that you mention an actor may throw off other performers, because from training as an actor and moving away, I've reflected a lot on my experiences. Acting's not something I do much of nowadays, although I still do really enjoy doing performances as and when I can. But there's always an interesting balance with performers between ones that understand their place in a show and they're almost a cog in a machine, and the performers who almost can't seem to get out of their own head, and they're almost just performing to kind of put themselves in the spotlight forward, which I don't think serves the work, to be honest. What's your take on that when you have a performer who's just performing to get people to look at them, for example?
I think you can 100% tell, and it breaks the world of the performance, and you're not selling a story because you're seeing an actor perform, or you're seeing an actor playing how Daniel Day-Lewis would perform it, or or somebody else. Like, you can 100% tell when somebody is not fully invested in their role and they're playing the character, and it's about them as an actor being on stage to be noticed, and it's a detriment to the show. And if there needs to be consistency throughout the whole performances. So if everyone is playing true to their character and it's aiding the story and it's creating that world and everything for the audience, and one person's not doing that, they stick out like a sore thumb, and it's a detriment to the show. So,
and they don't even realise, that's the thing. They don't realise that because they are sticking out, actually the whole piece of work suffers. But mate, thanks for that. That was a wonderful insight into the world of directing. So we'll go quickly. We'll have a quick song, I think, and then we'll come back and we'll do some Shakespeare. Does that sound good?
Work on something. Yeah, why not?
Let's do it. I'm excited, man. I'm excited.